All right. Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land and online. I thank you guys for tuning in. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are here in your ear having the conversations that you need to hear. Today is Memorial Day, and I am here sharing it with you guys. If you guys are not familiar with Memorial Day, or you're listening from far away, or you're not quite sure what it's about, Memorial Day is the holiday when we actually remember in memoriam those who gave the full measure, those who gave it all, so that we as American citizens can have peace, prosperity, and a government that's supposed to be led by the people and for the people. You know, a lot of people confuse Veterans Day and Memorial Day because they just see it as a holiday for the military or whatever the case is, but that's not the fact. Fun fact, Memorial Day was started by Black Americans. Yeah, that's true story. You can look that up. It started by Black Americans that were veterans that were honoring their war dead and those who came back from the Great War, you know? So this is a very, very, very solemn occasion, but also a means for celebration, right? Like in America, we like to have parties for any given reason, right? But it's more of a nice time to have a barbecue and reflect on the opportunity that we have to have a barbecue, right? Like, because that means that we're generally in a peaceful time. Whereas a lot of countries right now are not in peace, they're in turmoil, loads of war violence, right? And thankfully, for those who served and for those who gave the full measure, we have relative peace on our shores. And that's such a blessing. We couldn't ask for much more. But it's also because of that that we, as American citizens, must get active in politics locally. Do you think that our people that fought in the Revolutionary War fought and died against a tyrannical monarchy would be like, okay, yeah, just, roll over and be compliant and complacent with a government that's overly heavy-handed in taxing you, that's charging you rent for property that you already own? Do you think that they'd be okay with that? Absolutely not. And these are the conversations that we really need to have. And I know a lot of people don't want to have it because they're like, oh, well, it's not the time, or it shouldn't be talked about now, or whatever the case is. When is the time? It's especially the time now more than ever when we're remembering those who died for us to have a government that's supposed to represent the people, be for the people, and be by the people. For us to recognize all of their sacrifices and what they've given in honor of our nation and our people, right? Not our government, but for our people. And right now, far too many of us just allow our government to do us any type of way. That's why I always encourage people to get active locally where you can make a difference. I live in a city that's been under one party rule in Rochester, New York, which is a Democrat-run city for 57 years. And things have largely only gone backwards and deteriorated for everybody except a affluent few. And this is something that's very serious that we need to have conversations about. Like, our forerunners and our forefathers didn't die for us to be all namby-pamby about what's going on in local politics. Everybody gets distracted with the president. Oh, the president this, the president that. I'm not concerned about the president because most of everybody's concerns about the president are always really concerns about Congress, but nobody ever holds Congress accountable. My biggest issues are with my state, and yours probably are too, because the states are united because of the Civil War. Another war where we've got tens of thousands dead in days, right? Hundreds of thousands dead, The number is almost incalculable because they just don't know, and we didn't do. They're just burying people at random. We have general concepts in the hundreds of thousands, but we don't know, not for sure. You know, it's probably upwards of 1 million, maybe more. You know, but we don't talk about the sacrifices that were given in things like the Civil War, so that we as states, as a union, can be united. And I believe that when we have a lot of conversation about the Civil War, it always ends up being solely around slavery, which is the very largest part and cause of the Civil War. You know, some people will argue states' rights and stuff like that, which isn't wrong, but a state's rights to own slaves as other human as cattle is very problematic. So we had a war about that. But see, what needs to be noted there is the Confederacy, and follow me on this, is the Confederacy saw it as their states' rights, right? Because states' rights supersedes the federal government, because we're supposed to be a republic, you know? Like originally we started off as a confederacy, not as the Confederacy. I'm using air quotes if you aren't able to read, but that's why we have the Articles of Confederation. Go look those up and read the Articles of Confederation. But we started off as a confederacy and we turned into a republic, which had more strength in the federal government than it did as independent, excuse me, let me say it like this. The federal government under our republic system has more power than it did when we were a confederacy. You know, honestly, I like the concept of us being more loosely affiliated than top level affiliated, because the federal government is a very large issue for me. And somebody dropped a comment there. Let's see. Thank you, Lewis. Lewis says, happy birthday. Today's my birthday, you guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Lewis, for tuning in. Yeah, so thank you, Lewis. I appreciate you. Yeah, but what we got going on right now is a tyrannical government in our state. Not even so much the federal government, but people get it twisted. And here's the issue. Our state has a governor that is a complete tyrant. Her name is Governor Kathy Hochul. I call her the high priestess, okay, because she swears up and down that she speaks for the Lord himself when she got up on the stage in front of a church and said, the Lord told me that everybody needs to be vaccinated. Who? What Lord? What God? What God are you talking about? Crazy lady? Witchy poo? Okay, like insane. But she said out of her mouth after the Bruin decision, go look that up in the Supreme Court. It's a gun decision which said that the states may issue platform for firearms licenses is unacceptable and unconstitutional. It should be a shall issue state. And there's a whole thing. I'm not going to dig into that right now, but we might do it a little bit later. But the Supreme Court said that all of the gun laws that are in New York State essentially are unconstitutional. And Kathy Hochul, our governor, got on the TV and she said, I don't care what the Supreme Court says. I do what I want. She said this out of her mouth on the television, you guys. You can probably find the recording still. She said the U.S. Constitution does not apply here. I said, wow, that's absolutely unacceptable. But it shows you how confident she is in states' rights over federal rights. But this is exactly why I say that we need to get involved on the local level, because that's where the power is. The power is in your municipal government, in your county government, and in your state government and state legislature. This is where real change can be made. This is where we can make a real difference. This essential localized rulership is, they call it home rule in New York State, is what all of our people died for. They fought and died for that in the Civil War, in the Revolutionary War, so that we could be as individual sovereigns over ourselves, not having the government be overarching for every single thing that we do every bit of the day. And it's a really, really, really serious conversation that we need to have, especially on such a solemn day as Memorial Day. But a lot of people don't want to have these very serious conversations. I'm very strong on states' rights, even though I can't stand my state government. But that's why I'm always encouraging people to get active, get engaged, participate in government, and especially work with candidates that are running for office. Shameless plug, I am running for office in the city of Rochester, New York for city council, and it is my birthday, and it's my birthday week too. So I'm working on raising $10,000 for my campaign this week. So if you can, donate to my campaign. Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. We're working on that so we can make a difference here locally, because I don't just talk about it on the radio or talk about it on the internet. I'm about what I talk about every single day. I'm not encouraging any of you guys to do anything that I wouldn't do. I believe that you should lead from the front. You know, that's how it should be done. That's my personal philosophy. You know, don't talk about it, be about it. Okay? But as we continue this conversation, and please hit the like and the share button and get this out there to more people so that they can join into the conversation. And if you're watching right now and you're on X or Twitter, whatever, hit the retweet button. It don't cost you nothing. Hit the retweet button. Okay. And if you're on Facebook or wherever, share it to your page, share it to your friend's page, share it to everybody's page. Oh, we got a comment coming in. Hey, who's that? Lynn, thank you so much. Lynn says, happy birthday. I thank you for that happy birthday. Yes, you guys, today is my birthday. I appreciate you all. And make sure that you share this out with more people. You can also donate to the show. We're here on Cash App, dollar sign MW Real, the number 1, or you could do PayPal and Venmo. It's at Marcus C. Williams. We work to raise about $25 to $50 an episode so that we can actually get more airtime. Airtime is not free, and we love having these very important conversations with you. So please support the show. Donate Cash App, dollar sign MW Real, the digit 1. That's MW Real, the number 1. Or you can do Cash App or PayPal or Venmo, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. Now share this out. Let's get back into it. As we're sitting here and we're talking about the rights and liberties and freedoms that we have as individuals, and that our government is supposed to be a government for the people, by the people, and about the people. We have to remember all of those who sacrificed so much. Like, this is how our country was founded, right? Like the Revolutionary War. How did the Revolutionary War kick off? Because they were charging us too much taxes. You know, the whole cry, no taxation without representation. Well, let me tell you right now, they're trying to charge me taxes, and I don't have no representation here in the city. None of these people represent me. Okay. Like I said, our city's been run for 57 years by Democrats solely. None of them really have the same priorities that I do. Okay. None of them really represent me or my frame of mind or my thought. I believe that we should lock criminals up. Imagine that. You know, imagine that we should lock criminals up. These people don't believe that. They won't even speak up against the state assembly and the state senate. Again, that's where a lot of the power lies in these states. It's not the federal government. They try to distract you. So they won't even speak up against them. How are they supposed to be representing me when they won't speak up against the people that are doing us wrong every single day? That's lack of representation, but they want me to pay taxes. Come on now, stop playing with my face. You know? Maybe they all need to be tipped over and poured out. We got an election coming up. I think daggone near everybody that's in there needs to be turned out. We got one person that's running that's an open socialist that's trying to put policies that are destructive, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. Somebody just sent something. Kevin's talking about something else, but he said, this is if you're local into Rochester, this might be pertinent to you. I'm just going to put it up on the screen. I'm not going to read it right now. But here's the deal. With our local municipality, If my elected officials who are supposed to represent me aren't representing me, why am I paying taxes? Then most of my taxes go to school taxes. I don't have no children. If I had children, they wouldn't be going to these schools, okay? Because these schools are terrible, terrible, terrible. Like, I couldn't even be nice about it if I wanted to. That's the nicest way I could say it. These schools out here that we have in Rochester are breeding criminals. They're breeding people that have no hope, that see no value in any future, because their futures are being stolen by this ridiculous education system, which is not only minimizing them, but it's not producing anything for them to see a better way forward for themselves to be productive in the future. You know, that's a very serious issue. Now let's jump into Kevin's comment and we'll get right back to it. But hit the share and hit the like button. I see a lot of people watching. Hit that heart button and drop a comment. We'll try to keep you in the comments and get your comments up on the screen. Kevin says, changes to the RTS on demand are coming. I will be at tomorrow's question and answer at Webster Public Library at 5:30 p.m. Hearing will be at RTS headquarters June 18th at 5:30. So that's something that's going on here locally. We got some issues with the buses. They always doing something crazy. That's for another conversation. But back to the conversation about why we need to get involved locally. Listen, we've got a serious issue where I am with our local municipal government. But more so, it's the overarching reach of our state legislature and state senate that are so, how can I say it generously, right? Forget generous. They're atrocious, they're terrible, they're trash, bro. Let me tell you about state assembly and state senate. They only serve their benefactors and they serve the people from downstate, okay? They don't serve us, they don't care about us, they're supposed to be representing us. Listen, my state assembly person is Demond Meeks, okay? I don't have a problem with him personally, but the policies that he's representing don't represent me at all. And he called himself a Christian and a father. I can't even. I pray that he repents and turns to the Lord, because the policies that he's passing are not even remotely close to biblical or scriptural nature, more or less the nature of anybody that should, I don't know, bro. He identifies as a black man, supposedly in a black fraternity. I got questions and conversational pieces that I got questions about, because you're not representing the best for the black community, which is largely the largest portion of the area in which you represent. More or less, perish the thought that you represent something that has a traditional family or conservative values. Jeez Louise, talk about taxation without representation. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. And it's frustrating and upsetting, because again, it goes back to our local level, okay, of governance, who's supposed to be standing up for us. They're supposed to be our advocates to the state assembly and to the state senate. You think they're speaking up for us? Absolutely not. They're too scared that the state assembly is so powerful that they'll push them out of office, okay? Or they'll fund their enemies, or they'll give them a hard time. Nobody's out there actually looking out for us, even though we're supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. They're out there being selfish and self-serving, and they don't care about not near one of us. And that is a very, very serious problem that we need to make sure that we are addressing. Facts. And I'm not happy about it. This isn't what our forebears died for. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the people from the Revolutionary War would be looking at us like, are you serious right now? Like, you have to use your ID to get into a neighborhood in the city, and you have to be pat down and scanned to get into a neighborhood in the city. They're calling it a special events zone. Okay? Really what it is it's Nazi, fascist, totalitarianism. Okay? Papers, please. Show me your papers. And then we can't even get into what they did during COVID, right? Where they were like, oh, you got to show your papers to get into you got to show your health records and your papers to get into a grocery store or to go to the gym. Don't come out of your house. Shut down your business. You think the people from the Revolutionary War would have went for any of that nonsense? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's what our state government did to us in New York State. But the majority of people in New York State don't even realize that that didn't happen in most of the other states. Most of the other states did not shut down. Largely, it was only California and New York State that happened in. But because everybody in New York State thinks that we are the center of the world, perish the thought that anything happened differently outside of our state. But they think all of the states shut down. And now they're talking about, oh, just forgive us and pretend like it never happened. It never happened, bro? Like, you made people shut down their businesses, force them to get these chemical cocktails inside of their bodies, which I don't even know if you can call them chemical, because they had all types of, they were legitimately a biological weapon, gene editing, okay, against the populace, okay, and people still caddy for those shots right now. Matter of fact, I seen it on the TV earlier. They're talking about, oh, there's a new outbreak of H1B29. I don't know what the numbers are. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. And they're calling it razor throat or whatever in China, and it's a COVID virus. It's the flu. It's the flu. Say it like it is. COVID is the flu. COVID is, if you look up what a COVID virus is, it's the flu. Like, I mean, like, we're not talking about things legitimately, and we need to have these legitimate conversations. And I'm telling you right now, our forefathers would never have gone for this. Never have gone for this. Even if we just go back a couple of years, you know what I'm saying? If we go back to, let's say, World War II, none of them would have gone for that. You know that people in World War II, and I'm going to do a deeper story on this in another episode. People from World War II, when they came home and they saw the corruption in their local government, they took up arms and they overthrew a number of cities inside the towns inside of the United States of America because the government was so corrupt. You know that happened? Probably not. They don't teach that very often. But that's the reason why they want to get rid of your gun rights. That's the reason why they don't want you to own firearms, because if you get wise, you might tip them over and pour them out. Which, honestly, the way that our government is looking, most of them need to be tipped over and poured out like a batch of spoiled tea. Don't get me started. It's terrible what's going on right now. And people, everybody's, oh, orange man bad, orange man bad. Man, I don't give a lick of spit about no orange man. The people making my life giving me a hard time is New York State. You know that New York State passed multiple pieces of legislation to shut down energy projects like pipelines and like natural gas plants and nuclear power plants in New York State. And then people are like, oh, the prices for energy are going up. Of course they're going up, because our state assembly is not serving our best interest. The state senate is not serving our best interest. What is going on, and who's going to speak up and who's going to stand up? That's why I always encourage everybody, get active local, because it's important. Our forefathers and our forerunners did not die for this nonsense. And what do you want to call it? I'm trying to be generous about it, right? Like, I got a lot of thoughts to say about it, and none of it's very pleasurable. Okay, like, they're ramrodding us with a rusty pipe, okay, that's full of nails. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's what our government is doing to us on the local and state level. It is not the federal government that is the biggest issue here. It is the state government. It is our local municipalities. They just put up in our county, they put up these license plate readers. What do you mean you got more government surveillance going up? In our state, they're not locking up criminals. The county ain't locking up no criminals. The city ain't locking up no criminals. But you're putting up massive government surveillance? Explain it to me like I'm 5, bro. You're not locking up criminals, but you're putting up massive government surveillance and expanding the government surveillance footprint. I'm telling you, it's not for criminals, because clearly they're not locking the criminals up. It's to watch you. Understand me why I'm saying it, okay? And don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. And I wouldn't be telling you if it's not true, if I don't have a real reason to believe. And it's not that I have a real reason to believe. It's that I can easily see optically with my eyes, okay, what is going on. And I need you guys to wake up, especially if you're in our area. This massive expansion of government surveillance, the same thing with the drones on the federal level, okay, because it wasn't actually the federal level, it's the state level with those drones. Remember, the drones are flying over DC and in New Jersey and all of this nonsense. And what happened? The states went to the federal government. They said, we need more power to control drones. We need more power to do stuff with drones in our state. Now we got drones flying overhead all the time in my area. The government, the city government, the state government, okay, these private businesses that have them in their pocket, Okay? I don't want all this extra surveillance nonsense. Okay? I love our police, and I'm very much so a very strong supporter of the police, right? Like if you listen to my show, if you watch my stuff, you know that. But I'm not very fond of them using drones and stuff like that. Y'all might have forgot when they used the drone to go blow up the guy in Texas that was shooting people. That should have been the warning right now. They will use robots to kill you. Like that's the full stop. Like we should have all got up in arms and been like, absolutely not. Now we look at the killer drones and stuff that are being used on the battlefield all over the place. Little things like this big. If you can't see me, my hand is like maybe the size of an orange, right? Like with little explosives that fly and blow up people, individuals. We tried to blow up Maduro like that. We didn't succeed, but that's a whole separate conversation for another episode. I've covered that topic before, but this is a very serious thing. Now, real quick, hit the like button, hit the share, drop some comments. I'll try to do my best to pop the comments up, and you get to be part of the conversation here too. So let's make this happen, and let's have a conversation together. Let's see. Somebody made a comment. Lynn says, watching the NYS channel on TV is enough to make you vomit. That is the truth. That's the truth. It's terrible. When you watch what goes on, she's talking about like if you watch like the stuff that's going on in the state assembly and the Senate, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's reprehensible. I got lots of other words for it, but big bad is the best I can say without using profanity. They're doing everything that they can to stifle us and crush us, and it's a very serious issue. Real quick though. You guys are tuned into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams here on WRFZ 106.3. You are listening to Rochester Free Radio. This is your #1 conservative show in upstate New York. Woo! Let's make it the #1 conservative show in the whole state. Share this out with your friends, your family, and everybody, even your enemies. Share it in groups. Share it on your page. Share it everywhere. Send a link in your messages. Send a link in your messenger. Okay? Get this show out there, and let's have a conversation together. Drop a comment in the comments, and we're going to go down this path of actual civic discourse together. Because it's important that we have the important conversations. So share this out. Take 2 seconds, hit share, hit retweet, and get this out there. Now, as we continue with this conversation, and I'm trying to make sure I can get these comments up at the same time. As we continue with this, Lynn, I see you have another comment too. As we continue with this conversation, Lynn says, we can't vote in a republic. We can't vote in a Republican in 57 years, reliance on government and not dads are sad. Okay, so now she's talking about in the Rochester area here, we've had Democrat rule for 57 years and government has become daddy. You know, you might often hear me refer to the government as daddy government in different conversations because that's what it is. The government runs the roost right now. Every man's household is supposed to be their castle, but it's really the government that's in control. You know, you're supposed to have complete title and deed over your home, allodial titles and stuff like that. You should not be paying for your home and for your property once you bought it. It's yours. You're paying to rent your own property. It's insane. The state or the federal government should not be taking your money that you earn. If they want taxes, let them raise a levy of a bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what they're doing is they're making it so that it's more difficult for you to afford to be self-sufficient and independent of our government. This is what our soldiers have fought against. This is why the Revolutionary War was fought. This is why we had so many other skirmishes and fights and small rebellions in our country that we don't even talk about. But right now, the government is doing everything it can to tighten the noose around the neck of the people, and it is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And this is what happens when people do not get involved. So, Lynn, to your point, we need more people to get involved. Also, shameless plug, if you are here in Rochester or the Monroe County area, volunteer with my campaign for city council. help me make a real difference in our area, go to my website, Marcus4Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com. Volunteer, donate, do whatever you can. And we are doing a birthday fundraiser for my birthday this year. It's 7 days, and we're working to raise $10,000 for my campaign, because campaigns cost money to run so that you can be successful. But more than that, campaigns need volunteers as well. So be sure to volunteer. Okay. Now, as we get back into it, we need to have a real conversation about all of the wars and engagements that we've had. We are now having engagement with Yemen right now, right? So Yemen had the daggone audacity and nerve to launch missiles at our ships. And if you guys know, you do not touch America's boats. Okay. If you don't know, now you do. You don't touch the boats. America kind of freaks out when you touch its boats. So here we have an issue with Yemen where they're attacking ships and stuff in the Suez Canal and in the area over there and all of this and all of that. So it's hampering trade, it's slowing down trade, and it's causing all types of issues. So we're dropping bombs on them, missiles, whatever, largely in part because of that, but also because of Israel, because they're bombing Israel. I got some stuff to say about that. We're not going to talk about it the way I want to right now, because I want to cover other things today. But the fact of the matter is that we're dropping missiles on Yemen. And Yemen's like, oh, well, we've got missiles to blow up Israel. Israel ain't sorry. Israel ain't the U.S. Don't tell me what to do over Israel. I'm going to drop all the bombs on you, no ways. You know what I'm saying? Then they're like, oh, well, we've got missiles that can reach the U.S. and we'll drop bombs on the White House. Listen, if you're feeling froggish, leap. You understand what I'm saying? Because we'll reduce the rest of your country that isn't sand to sand. Because you ain't got nothing but mountains and sand over there, no way. Come on now, there won't be one mountain standing. But I say this in the way of saying, why are we even messing with those people, bro? Like, why are we even over there? We're over there bombing them for our interest and partially for Israel, which I'm not very fond of that concept. Okay. Let Israel do what Israel does. It ain't got nothing to do with us. Okay. But we're over there bombing them, right? Why are we bombing them, bro? Stop blowing people up if we're not going to take over the country. And I say this a million times before, I say it again. We need to stop engaging in warfare against countries and territories that we are not taking over. Shouldn't be one bullet, one drone, one bomb, one nothing. Okay? None of it. None of it. We shouldn't engage in any level of warfare or aggressive act against any other nation unless we are planning on taking over that country. Period. Full stop. I get very upset with our military engagements because they don't allow our military men to get spoils of war. Why can't they have spoils of war? That's part of the purpose of going to war. You get to keep what you kill. Come on now. Stop playing. And then you look at all of the oil and gold and drugs and stuff that's confiscated. And does any of the proceeds from any of that go to our military men? No. It goes to private companies, goes to the government and all types of other stuff. And we don't get to hear anything about it, you know? And it's a serious problem. So we need to have these serious conversations. We really, really, really do. I'm upset, you know. I'm really upset because what we got going on right now is unacceptable. It really is. It's really unacceptable, and I'm not happy about it at all. Because we don't have any business blowing up nobody. We don't got no business blowing up nobody kids. We don't got no business shooting nobody up. We ain't got no business dropping no bombs on nothing unless we're going to take it over. Full stop. Full stop. And this is part of my issue with a number of wars that we've had. I'm still mad over World War I and World War II. Now, in full defense of both of those wars, a lot of our soldiers were able to bring back some spoils of war. Not enough if you count it by me. But we also kind of did take over, in theory, parts of Europe and parts of Africa in that whole thing. But by proxy, I'm not for proxy. You guys know me. If we're going to do it, we need to do it all the way. Don't have to do it, or you playing in my face. And if we're not going to do it all the way and incorporate it into the U.S., we ain't got no business there. You understand what I'm saying? Right now, they're like, oh, the U.S. should put troops in Ukraine. Absolutely not. We should not put troops in Ukraine. If we put troops in Ukraine, we should be annexing Ukraine. Period. Full stop. We over there blowing up Yemen. Why are we blowing up Yemen? Who's that serving? Are we incorporating Yemen into the U.S.? Absolutely not. We ain't got no business. None. You know, and these are the serious conversations that we need to have. We shouldn't be risking our troops. You understand what I'm saying? Then we go back to Vietnam again, because it's Memorial Day, right? Vietnam, we lost so many troops, right? Did we take over Vietnam? No. And they're still communists today. We didn't take over Vietnam. Absolutely not. We lost so many men, and we just going to let it go like that because of turn of public opinion. Later for public opinion, okay? And don't call me what you want, okay? I'm not a war hawk. Really, I'd like to stay away from war and avoid it if at all possible. That's why I believe about peace through strength, and we need to have the most ultimate OP military ever, okay? We need to just be able to disintegrate whole nations, okay? If they decide that they want some smoke, we really turn them into smoke, you know, like, and this is part of the problem. Like, look at all of our soldiers lost in Vietnam. What did we gain? And for what? We didn't get any territory. We left the country. And I say a similar thing to South Korea and the Korean War and North Korea. Technically, we got a little bit from South Korea and we got some good stuff there. We didn't take over South Korea. Why didn't we take over South Korea? So this is a serious issue. And we need to have these serious conversations. But nobody wants to have these serious conversations. We need to stay out of war at all chances, all types of military engagements, unless we about to really be about that life. And there's no point in war at all unless you are defending your territory inside your own borders or right outside of your borders, or you're taking territory. For every other intent and purposes, there ain't no point. But we've gone too far away from the directive of what warfare is for. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to me. It's really, really, really crazy to me. It's disgusting. Makes me want to spit. You know, we had another issue as well. We as Americans have forgotten about the importance of honoring our military and making them a priority. Now, Memorial Day is for our fallen, but we also have memoriams for those who died at home from other certain issues as well. And that brings me into the conversation about the VA. The VA is getting better. It's getting considerably better. But historically, it's been trash. Hot garbage. That's not a joke. I wish it was. But this goes into prioritization of our veterans that are still with us and giving them the best service possible. And we need to make sure that we're allocating the appropriate funds, and the funds that are being allocated appropriately for our veterans. You know, like they come back and they come home and they get not suitable services for people who served our country, especially ones that have seen active warfare. Like a lot of that stuff doesn't go away from you. That stays with you forever. Not everybody is built that way, especially in the last couple of generations, since everybody been so soft, because everybody gets a trophy, because everything has been so censored, because everything has been so sanitized. You know, you look at who's coming up, Gen Alpha. Oh, Lord have mercy. I can't imagine what it'll be like when Gen Alpha gets in the military. Most of them, they don't stand a chance. You understand what I'm saying? But we got all these people in Gen Z right now. They're not fit for combat. They don't have the right level of mindset. And it's because we've become too passive as a nation. We've become a nation where everybody gets a trophy for everything. We've become a nation where, oh, if it hurts your feelings, we shouldn't talk about it and we should get rid of it. We've sanitized everything. You know, Mike Tyson said one time, and I'm paraphrasing, the internet has made people real comfortable with saying foul stuff without getting punched in the face. And that's something to take to heart, because right now, everybody will say all types of crazy stuff. And then they'll be like, oh, well, it's my freedom of speech to say down with America and deaf to America. No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, it is, right? You can say that. You can say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that there won't be consequences for you saying that you want death to our country. You've declared open war against our nation. You should be put in military prison. Okay, you should not even have a regular court case. You've declared yourself a combat enemy, an enemy combatant. They should deal with you as such. You understand what I'm saying? These people should be happy that they're not being scraped up off the side of the road after saying crazy stuff like that, or waving foreign flags talking about the only solution is an Antifa revolution or an Intifada revolution, an armed overthrow of our nation, while you waving foreign flags. Are you serious, bro? Listen, these are the serious conversations that we need to be having, but people don't want to have them. Now, we sit here on this solemn day, also my birthday. Happy birthday to me. But we sit here and we really need to sit with how many people have sacrificed for us, for our homeland, just to be generally devoid of war in our territory, right? Like, there are no real armies on our shores right now that are actively engaging in direct armed conflict with us. And I choose my words carefully there, right? Because, I mean, it could be said that they're using drugs against us and they're moving against us. By that means that all types of other stuff, human trafficking, stuff like that. But that in general, our country is pretty safe, you know. And people will say, oh, well, there's shootings and this and that. There's shootings because there aren't enough guns. What we started to do is we've taken away firearms from people, even though it says that it is their inalienable right. It is the only right in the Constitution that says shall not be infringed. It is a right that is given by God and protected by the Bill of Rights in our Constitution. It isn't a right that is given by the Constitution. It is a liberty and freedom that is protected by the Constitution. And there is a very, very serious difference. And we need to have those serious conversations. But people don't want to. Hit the like button, take 2 seconds, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, join the conversation, drop a comment. I'll do my best to pop the comment up on the screen. Okay. Be part of the conversation. We're making sure that we have the important conversations here on this show. So you can donate, please donate and support the show. It's on Cash App, $MW Real, the number 1, that's $MW Real, the digit 1. Or you can do givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. And we're on Venmo and PayPal at Marcus C. Williams. We're working to raise $25 to $50 an episode so that we can get more airtime, because airtime isn't free. And we need to have these very important conversations. Now let's jump right back into it. Oh, I can see the comments. They're popping up on the screen very, very small. I don't know how to make that bigger. I'll work on it on the next show. But as we have these conversations that are so important, as we sit in general peace, it doesn't mean that we're not supposed to get active. We must get active. You know, I believe very firmly that we need to reinstill into our society not just technical acumen and skills and trades, but also a zeal for physical fitness so that we are a very strong and healthy nation, like physically strong and healthy. Like a lot of the stuff in our food right now is run by horrible multi-mega corporations. Like a lot of the people don't know that a lot of the cigarette companies that were killing people through cigarettes are now killing people through food because the cigarette companies bought up all the food companies. A lot of people don't know that some of our biggest suppliers, especially for pork, are run by the Chinese. I couldn't imagine that the Chinese want anything good for us. You know what I'm saying? But these are the important conversations for us to have that we're not having. We need to return our nation to relative health. And the only way to return to relative health is to make sure that we're able to get enough meat protein, like beef and chicken is good, but beef is better. We need red meat in our system. It's been shown by science. It's been shown by science that your brain shrinks when you don't have animal protein. And the best way to do that, to get enough animal protein, is through beef liver. It's very good. I love beef liver. Beef liver is good. Tallow is good. I love liver. I can't stand onions. You know, so people are like, liver and onions? Absolutely not. Give me some good liver. Yum. Okay. Also cabbage. I don't like cabbage. I had too much cabbage when I was little. I'm all cabbaged out. Cabbage and what do you call it? Corned beef hash. Ooh, ugh, no more corned beef hash. Never. I ate so much corned beef hash. The only thing I did eat a lot when I was little that I never get enough of, pork and beans. Yeah. And today is Memorial Day, so I'm sure that when I go out, there's going to be some barbecues and stuff. Somebody's got some pork and beans somewhere. Okay. I'm about that pork and bean life. Okay. Even though I try to stay away from pork, you know what I'm saying? In general. Like I don't not eat pork, but I don't not eat pork, if that made any sense. Right. But anyway, we do need to restore our nation to relative health. And the only way to do that is through making sure the food that we eat and that we consume is healthy. But right now, we've got a lot of special interests that are involved in the manufacturing of our food. And a lot of it has become industrialized and not localized. We need to return local production of food locally. Now we have a serious issue in New York State because they decided to take all our farmland, a lot of it, and to put up solar panels on it. Lord have mercy. Even though solar panels don't even really work in New York State because it's dark all the time and because it's too expensive or whatever the case is. We're not going to go into that the way I want to. But the biggest issue was with the solar panels is it leaches poisonous chemicals into the land, meaning that we can never use that land ever again for farming. And they're out there making it so that all of our good farmland, our arable land, is used for solar panels. These people are criminals against humanity, and they need to be addressed as such. All of that, put the solar panels on the fields, is trash, garbage. And do you know why they do that? Because they subsidize it, because it's better and more beneficial for farmers, because farming is a hard life, right? Like in general, on scale, it's not considered to be the most profitable thing, and you really got to be the right type of special person to want to do that. That's why so much of it is commercialized now. And the commercialization of farming has crushed our nation. We're no longer an agrarian production society. We're no longer a, what do you call it? Meat, generating people. We got to go back to growing our own food in our own territories locally. But our state, and again, I tell you guys, everybody looks so much on the federal government. A large portion of it is the problem of the state. In our state, we got so much green, lush land for farming, but our state makes it nearly impossible to farm. They've got all types of, they just put some, just thinking about it make me upset because I like food. You know what I'm saying? Especially meat animals. I love me some meat animals. Cows are my second favorite. My first favorite is buffalo. Oh my gosh, you guys. If you haven't ever had buffalo or bison meat, it melts in your mouth. It's so tender. It's like if you could think of a burger being better, that's what bison meat is like. And when I first tasted bison, I was like, oh my goodness, no wonder the settlers almost ate them up to extinction because they are that good. I could eat bison meat every single day. Oh my goodness, I wouldn't even get tired. Oh my goodness. Bison ground beef, bison liver. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about it. Somebody get me some bison, okay? Somebody get me some bison. Stat. Delicious. Just thinking about it. Anyway, but we need to go back to local production of food, meat, vegetables, and we need to be able to purchase it. You know, I go into my stores locally, you know, even the big box stores and the local grocery stores. Like we got some chain grocery stores that are local. Like we got Wegmans, like that's a big one. It might be in your area if you're not in Rochester even, but it started here. Anyway, but a lot of the food that they sell in there is not local. And then you have to think about it. Well, why is that? Well, it comes down to price. And largely, like I said, there are harsh regulations from the state that are prohibiting production of agricultural goods and meat products here. Then we have to talk about the fact that they've done everything that they can to close a number of meat processing facilities in New York State and make it hard for new ones to start up. Then we can talk about egg production and all of that. You know, we can talk about how they force people that do milk to spoil the milk. Like they force them to pour it out if they make too much. And that's partially a federal regulation thing, but it's also a state regulation thing. But we can't talk about that. Why are you making it so that they can only sell so much milk? You understand what I'm saying? The market will even itself out. They should be able to give the milk away if they want to, free milk. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they don't talk about these things. It's terrifying. It's sad and it's tragic. And we deserve much better, much, much better. But we're not going to get better until we get active and stand up to our state, to our government and say, no more. We deserve healthy food. We deserve local food. No more solar panels on our farmland. You sound crazy. You know, but these are the conversations that a lot of people don't want to have. So I encourage you, hit the share button, hit a heart, hit a thumbs up so that we can get this conversation out there and get more people involved. That's what's important. So if we do that, then more people will be able to start having the important conversations. Now, as we go through this and we have more serious conversations, I'd like to take 2 seconds and talk about this crazy guy in Israel. So apparently there's this crazy guy in Israel. Okay. He is a dual citizen from Germany and from the US who apparently was planning to firebomb the embassy in Jerusalem. How dare you? Our embassy, right? Like our embassy. How dare you, bro? We need to, let me say this very clear and we're going to get back on topic right now. This is, if there is one song that you can take away from me, that you spread like it's gospel, there should be no dual citizenship for the United States of America. You should only be able to have one citizenship if you are American. That means that if you have a dual citizenship, you are not 100% loyal to our country. I don't care whether it's Germany. I don't care whether it's Israel. I don't care whether it's Timbuktu. Okay, Timbuktu isn't a country, it's a city, but that you understand exactly what I'm saying. There should be no dual allegiance or multiple allegiances of anybody in this nation. You can only have one allegiance, and that's to the United States of America. And if you don't have allegiance to the United States of America, go to whatever country you feel allegiance for. That's why we got all these people right here talking all types of crazy outside of their net. Oh, Israel this. Oh, Palestine that. Oh, Africa this. Oh, what do you call it? Burkina Faso that. Oh, this, oh, that. Go there. For real. Go there. If you care so much, voluntarily give up your citizenship. We can't take your citizenship from you, but you can give it up. Abdicate it. Because according to the UN, I don't know who the heck they think they are. Don't tell us what to do. Anyway, but according to the UN, it's not okay to make somebody stateless. We can't make them stateless, but they can sure choose to be that way. Nothing prevents them from doing that. Let them go to wherever they want to go that they love so much. And don't let them back over. Period. Full stop. Full stop. You got dual citizenship with Israel, you got to choose one. Okay? Because otherwise, you're registered as a foreign agent. You got dual citizenship with Germany, You're registered as a German agent. Speaking of which, I don't like the way that Germany is rearming right now. I don't trust nothing about Germany. I ain't never trusted Germany, okay? Because Germany has always been very self-interested and all about themselves. And really, I tell you this right now, out my mouth to your ears, okay? Hitler won World War II, okay, and they disseminated all of their different agents inside all different facets of the United States, South Africa, Argentina, Brazil. What's the other country in South America? I forget the other one. Chile, okay, number of different places throughout the European Union, England, Canada. Everywhere the Nazis went. The Nazis went everywhere. And what did the Nazis want? They wanted to unify Europe was one of their end goals, and they wanted free transitional transport throughout all of Israel, throughout all of Europe, and they wanted trade and international commerce all throughout Europe. And what's going on right now? The whole European Union look like the Nazis to me. Look like the Nazis won. They accomplished all the goals of the Nazis. You know, and somebody will say, oh, well, what about the Jews? Forget that part of that conversation, because that gets disproportionately blown out to avoid what the Nazis wanted on the other levels. Because we can't even talk about those issues. We can't talk about everything else that they wanted. Because if we started to break it down and go into it, all of this nonsense, a lot of it has to do with goals of them. And that's what we need to have a serious conversation about. So when I see Germany rearming and them getting a whole bunch of stuff going on there, I don't trust them. I don't trust Germany. I don't trust Austria. I definitely don't trust Austria after what they just did with their previous, was prime minister? I think he's prime minister. He just got acquitted on all these crazy charges. The dude was corrupt as a $3 bill, okay? And then they over there in the European Union, they're over there stealing elections and all types of crazy stuff and stopping candidates from running and all types of just complete dictatorial, totalitarian nonsense. And a lot of it's being done through lawfare that they saw was implemented in the U.S. against other people's opponents here in the U.S. Like we were the testing ground and the proving ground for it. And then they're taking over to Europe and now they're doing it over there big time, big league. You know, like it's crazy what's going on. And we need to have these serious conversations, but nobody wants to have these serious conversations because they're important. And if we have real conversation, it'll be too much like right and might get people to start to thinking. That's why I'm so glad that we can do this show and we can get this message out there and have real conversations with you guys. So I encourage you guys, hit the heart button real quick, hit the share and get this message out there. Just start the conversation with other people. Okay. Share this out. And I'm not a big fan of what's going on with the trade with the European Union either. Trump just said he's going to delay the tariffs until July 16th, maybe. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it doesn't matter. Yvonne says happy birthday. Thank you, Yvonne. I appreciate you. But it doesn't matter. He said he's going to delay the tariffs. I'm not fond of delaying the tariffs. Now, I know he's using it as a tactic so that he can try to levy what he wants out of them and get us a better deal or whatever the case is. I'm a hit them with the stick type of person. Don't threaten them with it. Hit them with it already. Okay? And I know people are like, oh, well, you should delay. Nah, somebody got to get hit with the stick. Somebody or people ain't going to believe that we're going to hit them with the stick. The only positive thing about Trump is people do think that he will hit them with the stick. Okay? But if people keep seeing that he ain't hitting nobody with a stick, somebody got to get hit with this stick. Okay. And I do guess that it goes into some of the planning and stuff with what he wants and stuff like that. You guys drink water, stay hydrated. Drink water, stay hydrated. But it goes into some of the planning and stuff that he is going on for getting us better deals and stuff like that. But still, somebody got to get hit with that tariff stick. Somebody. And as we have this conversation, we need to talk about strategy in uplifting our nation. And right now, we have a whole bunch of things going on that are positive for our country. Even though a lot of people don't like the Orange Man and they're all like Orange Man bad, fine, you ain't got to like him. But I could not like somebody and I could like what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Excuse the comparison, but even evil person could do something kind or nice. Now you can ask, was it for self-serving reasons? But they can actually be 100% about that, you know? But people don't look at things like that. And right now, one of the big things with this big, beautiful bill that's in the Senate right now, it went through, past the House of Representatives. I'm not a big fan of a lot of it because it expands spending too much, you know? But I am happy that it's got the Hearing Protection Act in it, which basically allows people to not have to have a tax stamp for silencers. So that's awesome. I'm glad that that's gone. We need to get rid of the whole National Firearms Act. That whole thing needs to be thrown in the trash because it's a violation of our constitutional rights in the Second Amendment. And they need to, in the state, in the legislature, in the what do you call it? In the Senate and in the House of Representatives, they need to abolish the ATF, and they need to pass constitutional carry reciprocity, where you can carry your firearm anywhere in the country, because the bad guys got the guns, the government's got the guns, and the only two people that you got to be worried about with guns is bad guys and the government. And who's got all the firearms? The government and the bad guys. Not that they're always mutually exclusive. And that's a conversation that we need to have. But people don't want to have that conversation. Anyway, there's some good stuff in that big bill, right? Okay, but I also don't like that it increases spending so much. And they're like, oh, well, there's, what did they say? A couple trillion, 1 point something trillion dollars that got cut from the bill. But that's over X amount of years. And the bill itself adds like 4 and some change trillion dollars to the deficit or whatever the case is. Too much deficit. Too much deficit. And I know people are like, oh, well, if you cut stuff, stuff's going to have to get cut. Duh. Of course. Of course, stuff's going to have to get cut if the money gets pulled back. You know, they all of this conversation about Doge, where were the Doge cuts finalized? None of those cuts were finalized. None of those were enshrined by Congress. You know, I was listening to the Senate about this bill that's there now, the big, beautiful bill that they call it. You know, and who was it? Was it Thune? I don't remember whether it was Thune or it might have been Massey. I'm pretty sure it was Thune. Thune said that the debt ceiling bill should be separated from that bill. And I agree with him. I 100% agree with him. I'm so sick and tired of whoever it was that said it. I can't remember exactly. But I'm so sick and tired of them stuffing all of this different stuff into these different bills. Occasionally they put something good in there. Most of the time it ain't nothing good. But it also slows down a lot of good bills because they'll stuff so much stuff in there, people won't vote for it, even though the basis of it is good. And that's detrimental. That's really, really, really a serious problem. Let's see. Somebody made a comment. Let me see. Kevin says the Big Beautiful Bill Act should force those who can work to go back to work requirements for Medicaid and food stamps. That is what the voters voted for last November. Okay, so Kevin, that is what the bill does. So you got all of these Democrats and loons out there saying, oh, well, the bill is going to cut, I can't remember what they said, like 13 million people off of Medicaid. They're liars. They're liars. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to cut people off of Medicaid that are illegal aliens, and then it's going to implement work requirements. Okay? I don't see why there should not be work requirements if you're able to work. You know, like that is something that we need to have a conversation about. I was talking to somebody that's pretty far left this morning, and before I could even explain it, they were like, yeah, you should definitely have work requirements for that. That's why we have so much issues with not having enough money right now. I said, boom. I said, boom. I said, but see, this is what happens in the media and stuff like that. They don't have the right conversations. Maybe we should have a conversation about how we should implement work requirements. Maybe we should talk about who should have work requirements. But we're having the wrong conversation because all the Democrats are doing are causing and stirring up fear, talking about, oh, it's going to cut all these people off of Medicaid when that's a lie. It's going to cut off all the illegals. Okay, send all of them back to their country. I'm dead set and I stand on that. Okay, even though my church and my people and even though work that I do helps out with people that are refugees and asylum real asylum claims and stuff like that, I say real quick to everybody, send the fake asylum seekers back, deport all of the illegal aliens, repatriate them back to their own country. You know, because there are true people that are here seeking asylum that should be on asylum. There are real people that are real refugees that are on refugee lists that can't get in because of what's going on. But these people that are here in this country illegally or unlawfully are getting all of these benefits, which are draining our whole nation. Now, we saw this most explicitly with a lot of stuff that was happening in Texas and Arizona when it comes to the hospitals. Okay. When they started to come over, a lot of the smaller hospitals had to close down because they couldn't afford servicing all of these people and not getting reimbursed. It was a whole big problem. So one of the big things that they started to do was give these people Medicaid. And this was a wrong thing to do because that's drawing away from our Medicaid coffers. The Medicaid is already on schedule to be out of money by 2034. Okay, we're in serious dire straits right now. So that's why they need to get all these illegal aliens off of Medicaid. That's why we need to find the fraud and abuse and the waste that's in there and see where we can cut it. That's why we need to come down on these pharmaceutical companies and these medical procedural companies and the people that make the machines and stuff, and come down on those companies that are trying to skim from us and steal from us. That's why I'm glad that Trump did the most favored nation clause and reinstituted that, where the drug companies can only charge us as much as they're charging in other countries. But we can't talk about that. That's something good that everybody should be able to agree on. And that's something that Congress should have enshrined and should be in that big, beautiful bill, Kevin. But can we talk about that? No. That's something. Why is that not enshrined in Congress? That should be the easiest bill to pass. Right? We should be able to put that on one sheet of paper right there. Bing, bang, boom. It should be able to get voted on one day, out in an hour, to the Senate, out the same day. Now, of course, I know realistically that's not how things work in time and all of that, but it should, right? Like, why are they charging us so much and everybody else so less? Oh, because we can afford to pay more. No, we can't. Have you seen people? Have you seen people? Like, people can't afford barely to breathe right now. Okay, a lot of people in our country. Like, you go to McDonald's, it's $30 for a Happy Meal. I'm over exaggerating and embellishing a little bit. It's $15 for a Happy Meal. What in the Jiminy Cracker Krispies? Okay, what is really going on? Are we having the right conversations? But then that leads us into a conversation about pay. And that leads us into a conversation about forced minimum wage. And nobody wants to have those conversations, because when we start talking about forced minimum wage, we have to talk about inflation and the collapse of different businesses. And one of the things that the leftists like to say so much is that if your business can't afford to pay more money, that they shouldn't be open. What type of insanity is that? Then that means that those people will have no jobs and those people will be completely reliant on the government. And then that means that other people will have to pay more to subsidize those individuals. It's insane. Like, people say these things that sound pithy and they sound like they care and they make it sound all grandiose, but really upon implementation, those things are extremely aggressively destructive. And that's the conversation that we need to be having about these type of things. Make sure you hit the like and share button. If you're not following or subscribed right now, go follow and subscribe. Okay, hit the retweet. If you're watching us on Twitter, it don't cost you nothing. Hit that retweet. Hit the share button, okay? Hit the share button. Share it on your page if you're on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or wherever you're watching us on, okay? Share it on there, because this is important conversations that we're having, and we need to get these conversations out. Drink water, stay hydrated. Back to this legislation and stuff. Man, you guys, it's so it's so upsetting. Makes me want to spit. Now, as we have this conversation about the policies and stuff that's going on with legislation, and specifically the big, beautiful bill that they call it, spending cuts. We need spending cuts. We're spending far too much. And I believe that a big part of that is because the government is too big. The government should be so small, and this goes back to us fighting for our country and those who died and perished in the Revolutionary War and other various engagements and skirmishes. Okay, our government, they fought for a small government, a government that's focused locally. Okay, not a big, huge behemoth that is so unwieldy that it doesn't know where $4 trillion disappeared to. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they vomit and throw up. They'd kill over if they were still alive, watching what's going on. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. We deserve a government that's so small that we can fit it in the palm of our hands and we can crush it if so need to be. I believe a large portion of what the federal government is doing should be done by the state or shouldn't be done at all. It should be up to the individual. Whatever is not done by the, whatever is not in law, and I'm paraphrasing the Constitution, but forgive me because I don't remember this off the top of my head. Essentially, it says whatever is not written in for the federal government to do shall be conferred by the state, and if it's not written into the state law, it's one of the it's up to the citizens themselves. And there's not enough stuff that's up to the citizens themselves anymore because every day they're creating more and more laws that are oppressing us more and more and more. We don't need more laws. We need less. Like in New York State right now, we got a crime problem because we got too many laws. They put in a law, you can't arrest nobody. How do you make a law you can't arrest nobody? Sound crazy. Can I put them underneath the dirt? You understand what I'm saying? If somebody try to take some stuff from me, can I put them underneath the dirt? Just let me know. If I can, then you can put that law in. You understand? But I should be able to protect my home, my property, okay, my family members, and I should be able to put them in the dirt if you're not going to put criminals in jail. That's it. That's it. That's the only way I agree to you saying that criminals don't have to go to jail is if I can put them in the dirt and it not be a problem. Otherwise, people got to go to jail because they be out here ready to put you in the dirt just because they're so cavalier and they don't care, right? Because they don't care about their own lives. Why would they possibly care about yours? I think we got another comment coming in here. Let's see. Kevin says, what's Kevin say? Kevin says, I am thankful for my dad's service in our Navy, as well as all those serving in our military. Thank you, Kevin. That's a great share. But these are the conversations that we need to have, right? Like, what is going on with our continued ever-growing government? Bigger and bigger all the time. More and more laws. We don't need more laws, you guys. We need less laws. I'll take my city as an example. We got ridiculous codes, right? For different regulations for businesses, what businesses can have on their frontage and what they're not able to have out on the side of their building and all types of other stuff. Nonsense. All of those codes need to be thrown in the garbage. 98% of them. Okay, I'm not over embellishing. 98% of the codes need to be thrown in the garbage when it comes to that type of stuff. Okay, and any of them that are left should be simplified. But can we have that conversation? No. Most of the housing codes that they got going on are trash, too old, or too cumbersome, and they shouldn't exist. But these are the conversations that we don't have, and we don't have the conversations about how it's more difficult for small property owners or for families to work on their homes because of the over egregious regulations that are put in by codes. But we don't look at that because it doesn't serve them, but it serves the city and City Hall. And that's part of the biggest issue. Again, we're supposed to be a government by the people, for the people. But no longer are we that. We're a government that is full of self-serving individuals who care more about their bottom line and their pocketbooks and their benefactors than they do about our everyday citizens. And we need to return a focus on our citizens because our citizens matter. You guys, you matter to me, but it's clear that we don't matter to them. And that is a very, very, very serious situation. And we need to have those conversations. But again, these are the conversations that people don't want to let you have. So I encourage you, hit that share button, hit the like, hit the heart, get this out there with more people, and encourage more people to tune in. Every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m., right here on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. You are tuned into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams, the #1 conservative talk show in upstate New York. let's make this the #1 conservative talk show in the whole state, maybe even the whole country. But in order to do that, you got to follow and subscribe and share this out. Drop a comment, even if it's just a thumbs up or a heart. All of that helps in the algorithm to get it out to more people. And definitely hit that share button, okay? Now, one thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Our government has become too bloated and too concerned with its own self and its own interests instead of the interests of the people. And I know everybody wants to be orange man bad type of stuff. I know. It's local and state government that are the problem. Do not let them distract you with a figurehead that has minimal power over anything. I was talking to somebody earlier and they were like, oh, Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. I'm like, Trump doesn't have power over any of that stuff. They're like, oh, Trump's cutting Medicaid. Trump can't cut Medicaid. Anything has to go through Congress. That's not how that works. And they can't even do that. That's not how Medicaid works. Like, people don't know how things work. That's another big problem. That's why I teach civics education. Okay. But that's a whole nother conversation. But that's a problem. The only thing that they did say that Trump did is terrorists. Yes, because terrorists can be implemented by the president. Okay, there's a discrepancy right now between some people saying, oh, Trump can't do that or whatever. He can. He does have the authority and the power to do that. Okay, that is a thing. But they're trying to say that he doesn't. But they've been trying to pull back the power of the president for decades, decades and decades and decades. And the less power that the president has had, the more power that these institutions and the bureaucracy get, the more corrupt our government seems to become. Which is crazy, because you would think that if the person in power has more power, that it would corrupt that individual. But no, it's because we've got a shady, shisty network of individuals. It's nothing more than essentially what you would consider organized crime. I'm not saying it's organized crime, but essentially it operates like organized crime. Extortion, backdoor dealings, subversion, what do you call it? When you threaten somebody. Whatever that is, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. But all of these things that they do, they operate just like organized crime. Here in my city, they operate like a crime syndicate. Okay. The government, local government in my city in Rochester operates like a crime syndicate. A few people have the power over everything that moves. You understand? And it's not just the power of the people that are in these positions. It's the power of the state legislatures that are in there impeding in things. And it's the power of their benefactors that are all behind them. It's essentially organized crime. There could be a RICO case on all of these fools. It's nothing but racketeering and extortion. I got a lot to say about it, but people don't want to talk about it the way that it truly is. Like, what's going on here is not right. That's why you see the rich getting richer, as they like to say, and the poor getting poorer. But really what it is it's not so much the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. It's the rich getting richer, and the distance between the poor and the rich growing immensely, growing astronomically. The wealth disparity is the real issue in our city, in our state right now. I was reading a report the other day. It says that it costs $247,000 to live in New York State and be comfortable. Who in New York State makes $247,000? That's a crazy number when we know the median income in New York State is like $33,000. That's crazy. And the average isn't much better than that. I think it's like $29,000, which actually is less. But that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But can we have that conversation? No, but we need to have that conversation. We need to have the conversation about wealth disparity because, again, inflation, people. Inflation. And these people that are so up on all of this socialist nonsense that they're pushing for things like a 4-day work week. Let me key you into a couple of things with a 4-day work week, which now they're trying to make it a 2-day work week. First of all, it's coming whether we like it or not because of the automation and because of the AI. As a matter of fact, it won't matter whether it's 4 days or 2 days or no days, because it's not going to be in existence for much longer as these machines start to come up and rise. They're already taking a number of jobs. And I just was watching a video presentation from one company that manufactures these cleaning robots for hospitals, and they were doing a presentation for investors on it, and they're implementing it into a number of hospitals in Texas and Arizona right now. And I'm like, wow, all them cleaning jobs at the hospital, they gone. They gone. Like, wow. And it was showing how they clean up the bacteria and the bodily fluids, and they were using the black lights and showing how it works and everything. I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. All these jobs are gone very soon. Then you've got the machines that they've already got doing waiter type of jobs at places like even like Denny's. You've got whole McDonald's that are completely automated. Like, are we having these conversations? I hear these unions out here screaming about stuff, but they're not screaming about this automation before it's too late. Like, we should have been screaming about this years ago. Like, this is real serious. This is really, really, really important. And we need to be having these serious conversations, but nobody's having those very serious conversations. That's why I'm fighting so hard to get this message out. So please support the show. Donate. We're working to raise $25 to $50 each episode so that we can get more airtime. Airtime is not free. So please donate. You can donate on Cash App. That's $MW Real, the number one. That's $MW Real, the digit 1. We also have Venmo and PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. We even got givesendgo.com/Marcus C. Williams. Please donate whatever you can. $25 is awesome. $50 is fantastic. $100 is wow. You're amazing. And on a shameless plug, it is my birthday, so please, right now I'm running for local office here in Rochester, and you can donate to my campaign. We're doing a birthday fundraiser this week. We're working to raise $10,000 because it takes money to make a difference in politics. So please donate. And that's Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. You know, as we get ready to close here for the day, I just want to tell you guys, I'm so thankful to the Lord, our Father in heaven, that I have the opportunity to have these important conversations with you guys, and that you guys are so supportive. It means the most to me. You guys mean the most. Shout out to everyone that's a member of #Team Marcus. I love you guys. You know, you guys can always drop a #Team Marcus in the comments. That's awesome. You guys are the most important to me. I love you all. And as we go down this journey in American history together, let's do our best to get active. Go join a local city council meeting, go watch them, go to a school board meeting, go to whatever district meeting for fire district, go to whatever you got, wherever you are, but start getting involved, because it's going to be up to us to make a difference, whether it's city council, board of education, fire district meeting, school board meeting, whatever you got, wherever you are, county ledge meeting, even if you can make it to some of these state meetings that they got, go out, get active, get involved. We got to start listening to what's going on, and then we need to listen again, because you got to listen twice with these politicians, because they be on some shady, shiftless stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So I encourage you guys, get active, and remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Thank you for tuning in to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams here on WRFZ 106.3. Make sure that you tell all your friends, family, and enemies, tune into The Divide Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. and share this out if you're watching online, and get the message out there. Share it with your friends, your family, any other groups you got, the neighbors up the street, the people in the bar, the people at your union hall. Get these messages out there. Let's start having the important conversations. I'll catch you later. Be blessed and be well. All right, you guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in so much. I love you guys. We're working on getting more airtime. We'd like to start another show on air on the radio, but we need more money to do it. So please donate. If you'd like to sponsor the show, let us know. We'll work to see how we can bump your business on the show, as long as it aligns with, you know, what I stand for. Okay. So let's get these messages out there, and let's have the real conversations, because nobody's coming to save us, you guys. It's up to us to stand up. Don't let them distract you with the federal government. Don't let them distract you with the Donald Trump or the Orange Man. Get involved locally. It's our city, municipal levels, our county levels, and our state levels that are really the ones that are hammering us up the rear end. Okay. And it's up to us to stand up and to push back. And the time is now more than ever to get involved. And if you are in the city of Rochester, message me, shoot me an email, call me on the phone, text me, hit me a messenger, hit me in a comment. Okay. If you want to get involved here locally, you can even go on my website, marcus4rochester.com, sign up to volunteer, because I'm all about that life of encouraging people to get active and putting them on the right course so that we can make a real difference together. With that being said, I'll catch you guys later. I love you all. It's my birthday. I'm gonna go relax a little bit. Hopefully find some food. Where the barbecue at, right? And if you guys got some bison meat, let me know, okay? Because I need that bison meat. Love it, love it. Somebody get me a, what do you call it? Somebody get me a subscription to some bison meat or something, okay? I'm joking, but I'm half serious. All right. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. And thank you to all of those who have family members that have served and that have passed in honor of our nation and upholding our values and our Constitution. It is of the utmost importance that we honor all of those who are our fallen, because that is the reason why we can be here today. Thank you guys. God bless. Be blessed and be well.